let's just be honest about it. From the invention of a village, a town, or a city, from the time that it happened, there were people that didn't want to be part of it. There were people that ventured further into the wilderness to make their own lives by themselves, surrounded by nature. Since the beginning of time, mankind has been doing this. Meet Moonshine. She was built in 12 days. Purpose of this boat was to spend winters in Tennessee while I lived in the summer in Wisconsin, and fast forward 3 years later, I brought my sailboat down here and I live here full time. And a year ago I left the dock with this boat, and that was last winter, and we never went back. We have been living in the wilderness for almost a year now. And this last week was the toughest and roughest week that was thrown at us from the beginning of the entire time that I've been on this houseboat. But I have to tell you, not only did we enjoy the week, it was our favorite. Out of all the time that we've been on this boat, last week was our favorite. The documentary you are about to see will trace this week from the beginning to the end, with commentary from me, Cricket, and River. We were parked overnight in this cove, surrounded from all sides, mainly from the west, because the storm coming from the west was going to hit us hard tonight, and I wanted to have protection, so we would stay here one more night. With last week's episode, we had seen the water rise more than 2 feet, and overnight, we had got hit again, with almost double that. Now, I remember when I came here, I was standing on a log that was 2 feet in the air, and now that log's underwater. So we're talking, total of almost 4 feet of increase in height over 5 days, and just 2 feet in the last 2 days. All right, so there's a storm going on. Yeah, you can see it. But I'm in this little cove, and they're not mountains, but there's hills on all sides of me. So I am, it's happening above me basically, and I see it happening, but it's not hitting me. And it's 62 degrees right now. So I'm going through and filling all of my propane because there's going to be 4 days of it being 10 degrees and 7 degrees. And I want my little buddy heater to be ready if I need it in between lighting the fire in the fireplace. But I wanted to show you guys how this all kind of is happening around me. I pulled us into the trees and right up along the shore. Let me see if I can turn on there we go. And right up along the shore to tie up to a couple of trees here. I can't tell if that's wind or thunder, to be honest with you. It sounds like thunder or hail. Oh, here comes the rain. It's like just on the other side. I don't like the sound of that. I've cut the volume to 10%. What I'm afraid to say out loud, but I know is true, I've been in a tornado before and it sounds like a tornado. I'm parked in the right place, the winds won't affect me, but come to find out, there were 30, 40, 50, 60 mile an hour winds, the tornado sirens went off, I'm just in the middle of nowhere and couldn't hear them. Fact is, we parked in a good spot, and if you look, I'm not even moving around, even though this is all happening right above me. I hope that's the noise I heard. It's just it really coming down. Drying out the pants, drying out wood, drying out everything. Trying to dry everything out. Crickets under the bed. River's doing okay right now. He put a bunch of paw prints on the comforter jumping up here just now. So during the day, his comforter is laying on the bed. At night, it's my comforter, and you can see he just messed up my comforter. Something fierce. Are you scared? Look at his eyeballs. Are you scared, little buddy? Yeah? He's scared. Oh. Every once in a while I come out here and I think, oh, there's no snakes. And I forget there's a friggin' cougars. Like I don't know what I'm thinking sometimes. Let's take a moment for our sponsor here. Affery, 800 watt portable power station. Comes with a 800 watt inverter to run all my power tools and my electric blanket keeping us warm at night. It has a LED light. It has a 12 volt plug. It charges off of 120 in 90 minutes with up to 400 watts charge cycle. It will also charge off of solar panels. All right, I was just standing outside here with River. The sun is not even up yet, but there's enough light for us to actually see. That was the beach I was on the other day. Not last night, but the night before. And there is no beach. It was 25 to 50 feet of beach right there. And in the matter of 3 days, it's gone. And now the water is off into the woods. The water is in the woods everywhere here. So look at this. Look what I tied up to. I'm like in the trees. The water's so high that I'm actually parked in the forest. There is no beach. It's not even an island anymore. You could kayak right through it. Now that the bad storm is over, we're going to make our way closer to the Tennessee River because the cold temperatures are going to set in and we need that current to keep us from freezing in. We're going to go to our typical haunt and see if there's still land. I never have that much drama at all. Pretty much my life is just go to a different island and kind of explore, and then just move to a different island and kind of explore. So, but these friggin' diesel heaters are starting to like kind of give me trouble. I am getting an error code 3 on my diesel heater, and we are heading into a week of being below 30, so it won't start, and we're taking a part to fix it. This is what broke, and it's porcelain right there, just like a spark plug. At some point I'll go into detail on what I decided to do with the diesel heater, but the short end of the story is we had to get firewood. Some friends of mine, Jack and Jamie, gave me some firewood, some dry stuff. Jamie and I cut these boards last year, and they're a little bit too warped to go through the planer, so they're perfectly dry because they were set on a drying rack. Poplar, I'm going to use that to start the fire and keep the fire going. I'm also going to cut any fallen trees that I find. Those of you who follow the channel remember River, Cricket, and I lived in the sailboat last winter out on anchor, essentially cutting driftwood every single day to get enough wood to burn to keep us warm through the next night and the next day. It's something, it takes up a lot of time and a lot of space if you're going to have 3 or 4 days worth of wood. I don't know if people understand how much space and time it does take up to have dry wood. Not to mention, it's been raining for a week straight. So to go find firewood right now is a tough thing to do. So the fireplace is a lot quieter than the diesel heater. This is a really good fireplace. I mean, that's all there is to it. I'm going to spend the day. I want to know how long this poplar burns to see if I have enough wood to make it through 3 days. Or if I have to go get some, because I don't want to go get some when it's 10 degrees. So today we're just checking out how long the fire burns. It's only 30 degrees out, so we could get away with just an electric heater or the propane. Again, both my diesel heaters are gone. The first diesel heater broke. I got it working again for about 2 weeks, and then it stopped working. Second diesel heater is coming up with the E03, which is an ignition. I've ordered a new ignition. I took it apart. I took the igniter from the other diesel heater and I put it in there, and as I was doing it, the little porcelain part cracked. So I have one bad igniter and one broken igniter. I'm drying River's blanket because he was soaking wet and fell asleep on it. And then I'm cooking lunch and making some beef stew. And we're timing how long each board goes. So far, the first 2 boards lasted a little more than a half an hour to where they were almost ash. That would mean 4 boards per hour, 100 boards per 24 hours. And I have 7 right there cut. So, but we're going to see if that was just a... Who's here? We'll see. That's not a boat. That's a tree. That's 2 trees coming together like a V. Okay, so this is interesting. Maybe that V formation that the ducks use is actually the best way to move around. That is a that is a birch tree that broke off halfway up. I mean, it's not even the top or the bottom of the birch tree. So the water is still going up at a pretty fast pace. I'm actually pretty surprised that it's still going up. There was no water. When we got here, we could walk along this with no problem, and now that's become water. And a lot of this was water before, but now it's all the way over here. I think Cricket's over here. I think Cricket's on a walk over here, checking out if she can get around the water. No, she's digging. Ooh, she's going for something. What is she digging for? I wonder what she's going after. Oh, she's going to the bathroom. That's brilliant. She's only done that like 5 or 10 times in her life, that she goes to the bathroom outside of the litter pan. And I just realized, even though I'm interested in that, probably no one else is. So I'll move on. Okay, so the water, when I got here, there was no water on this half of the island, and now almost the entire island's gone except for the high part. My thought is, you know, for the next day or two, we'll be all right with the moving the generator over here and moving the boat up forwards, because this is another 2 feet higher. There's a place across the river that's a cliff that actually goes, 300, 150, 200 feet out of the water. I'll probably have to go there in the next day or two if the water keeps going up, just to have land. So we'll go check that out today. I was there last year when it flooded during spring and it was really warm, and we just basically drove all the way into the forest up that big hill. Did you go potty outside, Cookie? Good job. I'm proud of you. Yeah. So with the diesel heater's not working, and it being 10 degrees at night and 15 degrees, we've been processing wood and working with the fireplace. A couple of changes I made. I wired the chimney so it won't move, just to support it out here. Right now I don't have the ash collector on, but I have an ash collector that'll raise that up another 6 inches. I just don't have it on right now. And then for 3 days now, we've been just heating with wood. All right, I'm gonna work through here and take River for a walk in the woods. There's not much woods left. See how 90% of it is water? The other thing is, now that it's water, now that everything is floating, look at how much garbage there is that you don't really notice in the woods here. But now that it's floating, there's a lot. I don't even know how to get started. I mean, I do. Just put your rubber boots on and grab a bag and get out there. Look, it's all water between us and him. Come here, bud. Let's go. Swim over here. Come on. He's going to climb that tree. Oh, he found a good way to do it. Nope, in the water. I love watching him run through the woods. You're awesome, buddy. Imagine if you could do that. If you could just run through obstacles like it's nothing. Oh, you'd be a Superman. If you look right over there, it's kind of hard to see with this high water, but that's where the beaver den is, right in that break of trees. Look at the drag marks where they come up the bank right here. This is where the beaver gets out of the water over and over and over. Look at what he does. Grabbing his dinner right there and drag that. And then it's, he gets the closest one, and then he keeps going, and he likes this kind of tree. So look at this. Look at this. Next closest. Yeah. Now, what's really interesting about this is you can tell how tall he is. Look at that. Yeah. That's how big of an animal they are. This morning, the beaver came over here, and look at this. Is what he was eating for breakfast. They eat the bark. And if you look real close, you can see, just like how we chew corn, they just go right down the line. And then he'll come back tomorrow and flip this over and eat the bark from the other side. Yeah. And this tree right here didn't go far. He cut it down here. And you see how he tried the bark right there? See if he liked it. And here, look at the little teeth marks. Just like corn on the cob. Eating it like this, basically. Yeah. Then he tried to cut it down, and it wouldn't break, but it got too close to where it would actually fall and hurt him. And a lot of beavers die from falling trees. One of the number one killers is the trees falling on them. So he leaned up and tried it here. Yeah. So when you see that double take, That's a beaver realizing the situation's become dangerous. Yeah. It's pretty cool. It's not like he doesn't know not to keep chewing, but the tree started moving and would pinch him to get in there. Get that shadow out of the way. Yeah, they're smart animals. So smart when you think about it. They're one of the few animals that completely change their environment to make themselves at home. Like we do. Alright, so not only is our island not even big enough for River to run and play fetch anymore, which isn't good because we're going to be here. We're going to be stuck for a few days. So I don't like that. I mean, we could make this work, but here's the problem. Look at, this is the first time the rollers, look at that tree going down the river. Little tree right there. This is the first time these rolling waves are making it in here because the water's so high and it's a north wind. So yeah, I don't want to sit here and just be, and it's going to get worse all day. I don't want to do this for 3 days. So we are going to go try to find high land. We're going to try to find some land that's much higher than this. And out of the current. I mean, we're going to get back away from, we're going to go in the backwaters over there, hopefully. We'll see. We'll see what happens once I get the boat. The other thing is, I'm not going to be able, with the current like this, I'm not going to be able to take the boat out and just drive into it. We're going to have to go back out into that soft, calm area right back here where there's no current, do the U-turn, and then come back in and fight the current. And then, I mean, I'm a little bit worried about how much the current is and 25 horsepower motor, but if we can't control it back there, I won't come back here. I won't try to fight the current. We'll see. We'll see. In order to find a place that's going to be land, even if the water goes up another foot, we're going to have to enter the Duck National Wildlife Reserve. It's on the other side of the river, and we're going against some serious current here and 20-mile-an-hour wind, but everything seems to be going okay. Pretty much this whole week is going okay. All right, so that was not that bad at all. I mean, I didn't get pushed around. The only time I was shocked about the current was when I got here on the other side of the river. I went to turn left, and I had been basically to drive straight against the current, you had to have the boat going like straight would be this, and you had to have the boat like this to get across the river. And then when I turned left, whoa, did the boat turn. Like it was ready for me to do it, and I had to counter steer it right away, and I steered too early, but it wasn't there was no danger or anything. It was pretty clear that the boat wanted to go down river and not up river where we went. So I want to show you. You see all this it's all mud. I mean, it's all water 20 feet into the forest. So you couldn't let river out. I mean, on any of these islands, they're all gone. So we're coming to this big hill right here. That's what we're gonna do, where I can pull up to the actual land. We're gonna figure out how to do this here. Let's see. Okay. All right. Oh, look, this is a perfect spot. This is what I thought was gonna be. So last time it flooded last year in spring, when it was a huge flood, this is where I stayed, and you pull the boat all the way into the forest past the trees. All right, I think I'm gonna go just get pushed right up into that stump in that tree and tie off to both of them. I might be able, let me see, I might be able to side tie and get right up on that hill, but no, let's do that. Let's go right in at that cliff. It's not gonna have to be quick. But I can do it. If anything, that tree's gonna stop us even if we don't get the ropes out in time. We'll bounce off. We'll push onto that tree. Watch out, I mean, we're parked right now. I did that kind of hard. Bringing the boat into shore here, we had a strong wind on our port side. which is why I'm grabbing that rope. My thought was that the boat was going to push right off ashore and kind of bounce into the trees, which is not something you want. However, as I came to the beach, I gave it a little bit of extra juice, and it was a clear hit where we basically went 3 feet onto shore, beaching all 3 pontoons, and this boat is solid. The only way it's moving right now is if I put the boat in reverse or if the water goes up some, which it will. Go check that out. That's a cool spot. That's hundreds of feet of frisbee area. Alright. I'm trying to get everything organized and kind of sweep underneath everything and then get everything kind of set for a couple days chilling inside a little bit. Maybe going out in the snow. Oh, you guys, it's snowing. Look at that. Stay, River.
People are writing their maids.
Okay. It's time to get up. I remember I was in my late 20s, and both of our cars, me and my wife's car, were broken, and it was the first time I actually had to go borrow money from my credit union to pay for maintenance. And I had gotten a ride there from my parents because neither of our cars were working, and I got back in their car to drive home, and I said to them out loud, you know, if we made just a little bit more money, everything would be okay. And they both, I'll tell you, you could count on one hand the number of times that they laughed out loud during the year, but they both laughed hysterically for 5 minutes at me. And they said, it doesn't matter how much you make, it will never be enough. Ever. It will always be just not enough. And that was the advice they gave me when I was literally in my mid-20s. Now, I'm almost 50. And the advice I wish they would have told me was, if you can find as much joy in a sunset as you can find in owning a Ferrari, you can be a super rich person just by choosing the sunset. I remember when I first moved aboard this houseboat for winter, anytime there was a report of wind, or anytime there was some kind of cold spell, or anything that could go wrong, I stayed at the dock. I would tie up to the dock with 15 ropes, and I would sit there, and I thought, you know, I'm in the middle of nature. I'm in a nature reserve. The marina's beautiful. There's nothing wrong with being here. And I think 99% of people who live on boats will always feel that way about marinas, and it's their safety hold. Then as time went on, I realized that I could put my boat in a better place than the marina was at for the given winds. Our marina has a really bad northern exposure, and I know a place where I could hide from those northern winds. So the first storm came, where it was going to come out of the north, and I thought, well, I'm gonna go do it. I'm gonna go out into that little tiny shallow area and tie up to some trees, and I'm gonna face the storm myself. And guess what? When you're in the right spot, you don't feel the wind. When you put your boat in the right spot, you don't feel the weather, you don't feel the wind, you don't feel the cold. You just make your own little world on some side of some island somewhere in the middle of the wilderness. And I realized all of a sudden the marina was holding me back. So I just left. I just decided to leave. I talked to everybody and I said, hey, can I come back if it gets too scary? If I need to tie off at a dock, can I come here? And at the end of the day, I have a trailer for this boat, so I could tow it out of the river at any point wherever I'm at. So I wasn't really that worried about it starting to go for 1 full year or 1 full month, but after 2 weeks, a couple of weeks became a month. After a couple of months, it became a season. After a couple of seasons, it started to become a half a year. And then it's a year. Question now is, will it be 5 years? I don't know if you can tell, but the cliff edge goes right along here. And basically like that. You can kind of tell where those trees are. So that is a low point, but my boat was bottoming out all over here. I was basically on one pontoon all the time, and it's really just keeps the boat a little crooked. So I wanted to do that. Now the boat's sitting flat. Makes me feel a lot better. And then we're going to tighten up the ropes. Yeah. And we're going to be here for 2 more days. I think the water on the, if you look over there, the water's freezing across the bay right now. Drying a bunch of wood that I just cut. Sausage, potatoes, and onions cooking for breakfast. I'm gonna make some breakfast burritos. But regardless of that, it's 10 degrees out. I don't even care about that part. This is the first time I've seen the sun in like 3 days. So I'm so stoked. There he is, right up there. We're gonna go for a dog walk. The snow's starting to melt, and you can see where the creek will go right through here. Down and around right past the boat on the right side of the boat. There'll be a little mountain spring that comes by us. sun is out and it feels so good. It's been a few days since we had the sun. It's only 10 degrees, but it feels a lot warmer. When I was younger, I grew up in Wisconsin, and when there was a couple of warm days in the middle of winter and the snow would melt, but the ground would stay frozen, it would wind up like this in the middle of the woods a lot, where there'd be about a foot of water or 6 inches of water all around the trees, and then it would freeze all solid again. Since the wind couldn't get in there, it'd be nice and clear glass, and you could go out there and skate in between and around all the trees and make a little obstacle course. It was pretty cool. Happened 4 or 5 times while I was growing up. In the mornings, I charge this. It takes 90 minutes to charge, and it runs my electric blanket all day. So it keeps the pets warm on the bed. Also, I use it for my toaster and charging my drill and my saw to cut firewood. It's pretty convenient, very convenient. And one of the cool things is, you notice how it's taking 81 watts and it's charging with 200. It'll jump to 400, but it's a pass-through, so it's using it as an outlet, not messing with the charging while I'm running that electric blanket. Pretty cool. I have to say, around lunchtime every day, I had a care package sent to me with a bunch of sets of soup, and so I made soup on the fire and toasted some bread, sat and read my favorite book by the fire for a couple hours every single day for the last week. It's been great. Look at how beautiful the purple is in there. That's cypress. Yeah. You just gotta watch where you're going. The only reason she's out here is because she's been inside for so long. She does not like snow and she doesn't like the cold. But she has been inside for 4 days or 3 days or something. Long story short, come high waters, come sub-freezing temperatures, we're just gonna make it nice and cozy and read a book, make some stew, and kind of explore. We explored every single day. We went out and got out and did some stuff. So I was worried about this weather. I even told one of my friends I lost sleep a couple of nights, mainly because the diesel heaters weren't working and I had to rely on secondary heating. But man, we turned it into a great experience. I'm gonna always remember this week where nature kind of threw it at us and we were like, let's make the best of it and let's make some chili. Let's grab a good book. Let's sit by the fire and relax. One of the best weeks I've been out here. So I am burning cypress in here. The smell coming off of this fire is something amazing. Fire smells like my baby hamsters. My teddy bear hamsters when I was a kid, my guinea pigs. Whenever you hold them near your face and you'd smell them, they smell like that fire. Very nostalgic smell. It's really cool. These drying racks work really good. So this was sitting like this for about 25 minutes. And you see how it's gotten the moisture out right there? Just do it rotate. And then as the one that's burning down there is burning away, you can dry this one out. Basically, it just takes about an hour of being here and 4 turns. And then the stuff, this is completely dry to me, but it was laying, I dropped it in the snow, so we're just getting the moisture off of it. I don't think there's any moisture in there. It's lighting right up as soon as I put it in, so we'll see. Here's a tip everyone should know. We were in a flood when the waters receded. You see how there's no snow along the shoreline right there? That's how far it receded, right? My boat could have went all the way up there from the flood, okay? As it's receded, the weight of the boat is now on this rope. If I were to go and not have tied this rope the way that I did, it would be almost impossible to untie the knot. If you come over here, because the weight of the boat is on this knot, if I had wrapped this once around the tree and this knot was pulled, you wouldn't be able to untie it. Because I wrapped around the tree a couple of times, look how loose this is. Boom. There's no pressure on this rope. It's all on this. Always wrap. In here, the water receded, in that part right there, more than 150 feet. But right in here, this is probably 50 feet right here that you're looking at. So this was all underwater yesterday. You can understand how it would be hard to. That's another tree you could take that you could just push over if you wanted to. You could see how it would be hard to find firewood. Anything that's on the ground was sitting in water at some point, So you gotta get that top stuff, like that one. Yeah. She's like, what are we doing? Don't go anywhere near that stove. She's smart. They learned from the sailboat. We lived with fire in our sofa, on our sofa for a long time. In the sailboat, the fireplace, it's a tiny tot, and it's real tiny, but it is literally in the living room, right above the sofa, where you would watch TV or where you would lay down. So the dog and the cat would sleep right next to the fire, right the whole time. Yeah. So they've gotten used to not touching it with their nose or anything like that. Okay, the storm has passed. Everything that could go wrong has gone wrong. And we are still here. And it is calm, it is beautiful, and it has been a priceless week that I wouldn't trade for anything, and I'm going to remember forever. It was a week I lived by wood, heat only. Just cutting trees down and keeping ourselves warm with heat from the forest.